Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to be talking about Humblewood, the 5th edition campaign setting that is being created by Hit Point Press, and it's associated with the Deck of Many. I think the Deck of Many is a YouTube channel, right? Let's talk about, and specifically, I believe there is a tear-inducing loss to the tabletop role-playing game community and to the souls of the game designers of Humblewood. All right, so let's jump into it. I want to explain. I think there was a mistake made with the Humblewood game. Okay, now let me explain what Humblewood is, and then let me talk a little bit about the success of the Humblewood Kickstarter. Okay, all right. So the Humblewood game is the it's the Humblewood campaign setting for 5e D&D. Right? And every single word counts there. So let's go all the way through it, right? So basically, Hit Point Press, also aligned with the Deck of Many, is creating Humblewood. And Humblewood is a new 5e campaign setting that specifically deals with bird folk. So with this campaign setting, it creates Everden, this world that is populated by sentient bird folk. And so you get bird specific classes, you get bird specific races, you get bird specific monsters, and you get a bird populated world, a world of sentient birds in a fantasy setting. It is absolutely stunningly illustrated. The art for it looks absolutely amazing. And the writing appears to be incredibly well crafted, right? So the writing on this product is going to be amazing. The art on this product is going to be amazing, right? So Humblewood, so basically Scott Garibay should have nothing to say here, right? It should be all good, right? So why am I saying there's a tear-inducing loss that comes with Humblewood, right? So basically, and now let's talk about it. We'll get there, but let's talk about the Kickstarter itself. So the Kickstarter made $1 million. That is a ton of money. And first and foremost, clap, 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 clap. I really am applauding Hit Point Press. That is a huge achievement. And we, as a tabletop role-playing gaming community, we have much to be proud of. We are looking at a situation where we are routinely seeing multi-million-dollar products attached to tabletop role-playing games, right? For a long time, there have been tons of mini products that are multi-million-dollar Kickstarters. There's tons of settings that are multi-million-dollar projects that are fully funded, right? John Wick's second edition. Oh man, what did he make? That swashbuckler game. Boy, I'm sorry that I'm losing it. So John Wick did a swashbuckler game, 7C second edition, was a multi-million-dollar TRPG, right? And that was a freestanding tabletop role-playing game, right? It's truly incredible, right? It is just truly, truly incredible what is happening with these games, right? So the reality is, you have this situation, right? And you have multiple projects that are making multi-million dollars. And Hit Point Press, so I'm about to tell you the mistake that I made, that I think they made, okay? And I think the mistake that they made is a loss to their game designer souls and is a loss to the tabletop role-playing game community. But I must say, commercially, this was incredibly successful, and it was incredibly well executed on the parts of Hit Point Press. So basically, me saying this, I'm really, really talking just about the tabletop. The mistake only impacts the tabletop role-playing game community, and it only impacts the souls of these game designers. All right. So again, I do, before I go forward and say what I think they did wrong, I really want to say my hat is off to them. They did a tremendous job at making a commercially successful product, right? And I'm a capitalist, I'm down with that. Everybody gets to choose to do that, right? But I think sometimes there's a more noble path, right? And so I just want to talk a little about it, because on this channel we talk about the deep end of the pool of game design. So what is the loss of the Humblewood game? So the reason why I'm sad, and this is tear-inducing for me, is the Humblewood game is clearly going to be epic, right? The art is going to be amazing, and the write is going to be amazing. But what will not be amazing? The rules, right? The rules are a surrender. They are a give up. They are a bolt-on, right? And it truly is a bolt-on, right? Because, you know what, let me do one point at a time here, right? So, in my opinion, the game designers for Humblewood should have made this a freestanding tabletop role-playing game and given it amazing rules that actually match the birds, right? Because they're taking incredible amount of time and effort to make sure that the world actually matches real-world birds and really has a bird feel. And that's an awesome setting. I really think that's very cool. They're being painstaking to get the right artists who can capture the excitement the excitement and variety of birding. You know what I mean? And they're not giving any sway to any type of laziness or surrender in art or writing. But they fully surrendered on the rules, right? They're saying, we are not even going to attempt to create a rule system for this game. We're just going to we're going to splat this book onto 5e. And that's my issue. Humblewood is going to be amazing in every single way, except rather than having a freestanding tabletop role-playing game that could have founded an entire company, right? You know, because like the Fate product founded Evil Hat Games. There are the Star Wars tabletop role-playing game. In many ways, I think really with the narrative dice, skyrocketed FFG and really made it so that their tabletop role-playing games were incredibly competitive and made them one of the top 5 TRPG creators in the world, right? It's arguable that the Conan TRPG really made Modiphius, right? And see, that's just it, is Humblewood is going to be a powerful product, right? But it could have been an amazing game, right? And who knows what imagination and what we've lost in the rule set, right? What could have been a company grounding tabletop role-playing game that drove forward game design, TRPG game design innovation, right, is now dead. It will never happen. It doesn't work this way. You don't do a 5e book and then revert it to its own freestanding tabletop role-playing game. It has happened many, many times that you create your own freestanding tabletop role-playing game and then you kick that setting over to another rules system. But it doesn't happen. Making this a 5e campaign setting kills the possibility of an incredibly innovative, awesome rule set for this incredibly innovative and awesome campaign setting, right? And I wouldn't care. I wouldn't even take the time to talk about this, right? But clearly, the creators of this game are exceptional, right? So the idea that there was just one, like the narrative dice from FFG's Star Wars games and now in Genesis games were a major innovation in the entire hobby, right? The people who invented that and FFG, they honored Gary Gygax with that work. It truly pushed the entire industry forward. It blessed the entire TRPG community. And the souls of those game designers are robust. And they are blessed by their work, right? They can get up in the morning and be proud that they did not give up on rules, setting, or art, right? But I really feel that the Humblewood creators gave up on the rule set. And there's this beautiful bird-based rule set that will never be created now. It's gone, right? Because they went forward and chose this path that they chose, right? And it makes me weep, right? Like I'm such a huge TRPG fan, and it's so clear to me that these guys are careful, attentive, really good game designers. And so to take this less than noble path, right? Yoda explained it. The dark side is faster, more seductive, more powerful, right? Making your game a 5e campaign setting on day one and never giving it a chance to stand as a freestanding tabletop role-playing game that people who aren't Dungeons & Dragons fans could have played and played for decades, right? And that it would have been its own thing rather than it just being another splat book. It's just, it's so saddening, right? To me, right? And I just feel that the whole TRPG community would have been blessed, and the souls of those game designers who are creating Humblewood would just be more robust. And it's a sadness for all of us, in my opinion, right? I do want to just end by saying $1 million is $1 million, right? This is just my opinion, and what I am saying does not take away from their incredible achievement. And also, I know that a Kickstarter that brings in $1 million, they might be lucky to see $100,000 of that, right? Like, because a lot of it's just going to go right into the product, right? But the reality is, when they go to Gen Con this year, right, they can sit down with any publisher they want, most likely, right? Or within the top 5, certainly they could get sit-downs with a few of them and be able to make other games, right? They have earned and they have achieved, right? And I know it seems harsh for me to say they did this wrong, and this is a harsh judgment. I'm saying I am genuinely disappointed. By the way, the reason why I care about this is I'm a birder. I have a birding life list. I have identified and cited over 75 birds. It's a very low number. I'm not a good birder, but I do. I know like bird calls, and I actually take the time to go out and bird. I'm interested. I enjoy birding, right? And so I was really excited about this product, but it makes me so sad to see this game, what could have been an amazing freestanding tabletop role-playing game, its own core rulebook that could have served as the cornerstone of an entire company, just turn into another splat book. It's just, and I have to say, it is a splat book on one of the worst editions of Dungeons & Dragons to be a splat book on. 3rd edition fully embraced creator content from third parties. 5th edition barely tolerates it, right? This actually won't be an official Dungeons & Dragons product. It will be a product that is compatible with 5e D&D, and every single word counts there. You literally cannot put Dungeons & Dragons onto one of these extra products. It's not allowed, right? So they are building a campaign book for a company that will put more shine and energy on a company that doesn't even want it, right? Also, 5th edition is the absolute worst edition for settings. 5th edition has not allowed a single actual setting book, real setting book, except one, which is Ravnica, and that was a synergy monster from MTG that no Magic player asked for and that no D&D player asked for, right? That came straight off of a suit's desk, that idea, guaranteed. Right, so like, it's just really sad to me to see Humblewood just become another splat book. There's nothing to be done about it now. The dice are already rolled on this one, right? And I really do want to say congratulations to them for $1 million. It's a huge achievement, right? From a commercial perspective, it's a huge achievement. But I just want to take a minute and say I'm a little sad. I really wanted those bird rules, right? And not just a bunch of bird rules, but they really would have been epic. The same way the world is going to be epic, and the same way that the art is going to be epic. And I hope somebody invites me into their Humblewood game at some point, because I would like to play in this game. But just out of principle, I cannot purchase it because I stand against, with my very soul, right, with all my heart and mind, I stand against splat books. I believe they make every single game worse. And so it's frustrating to see this energy going into 5e to make it worse. That's my opinion. What do you think? Am I wrong? Let me know in the comments below. If you're the one person in the world that thinks I'm right, let me know that, please. Because so often people don't agree with me on this subject. Thank you very much for listening today. Have a wonderful day. And please consider liking and subscribing.